The NFL in 2020 is more than a football league. It is a media giant. Not only does it rake in millions of dollars every year, but it also extends its reach to pretty much every last corner of American and even global culture. There's a growing population of people that now believe that watching pro football is officially America's pastime, not baseball, which has been struggling to reach the younger demographic over the past few decades. The NFL has been able to differentiate itself, though, both from an on-field product and a business perspective. And that is largely because the NFL has been very strategic in how it grows and develops its brand, aligning itself with numerous partners that help to expand its reach and deepen its relationship with football fans everywhere. Even though the NFL is no stranger to outside-of-the-box partnerships, the league's newest one might catch you by surprise, because I know that I, for one, did not anticipate Roger Goodell teaming up with SpongeBob SquarePants to bring football to the youth of America. Yeah, the SpongeBob SquarePants, the talking yellow sponge who lives under the sea in Bikini Bottom. Now, if you haven't seen the announcement, or if by chance you're unfamiliar with one of America's most famous cartoons and are now scratching your head in confusion, let me clear it up for you. CBS Sports, who holds the rights to the NFL's Wild Card Weekend, is teaming up with Nickelodeon and SpongeBob SquarePants to try and entice young kids and families to watch the games together on what they've described as a special slime-filled presentation of the NFL's Wild Card game. CBS Sports expanded on its initial statement, explaining that the game will feature one-of-a-kind kid-focused content and Nick-themed elements throughout, including a special halftime presentation, guest reporters, and original on-field graphics, virtual filters, and more. Now, before you get up in arms, worried that you're going to be forced into watching NFL football with a side of slime, we should inform you that a normal version of the game will still be broadcast on CBS Network as well. The CBS Sports chairman, Sean McManus, gushed in excitement about the arrangement via a statement on CBS Sports. This is a first-of-its-kind presentation for the NFL together with Nickelodeon, and we are very excited to create a unique telecast that will maximize the co-viewing appeal for kids and families, while maintaining the integrity of the game and its traditions. Partnering with Nickelodeon to showcase the NFL playoffs is a great opportunity to highlight the power, depth, and reach of Viacom CBS, as we continue to unlock the true potential of our merged company with the first of many opportunities between CBS Sports and our Viacom CBS family. NFLNickPlay.com will serve as, again in their terms, the official online destination for the NFL wildcard game on Nickelodeon. The idea is that utilizing a web-based platform will create a widespread reach that will help to educate children on the basics of football and entertain them with a variety of NFL-themed content leading up to and during the wildcard game. Even if you aren't into this idea on a personal level, it is a fascinating move by the NFL and CBS. Let's take a closer look at some of the fun-filled details around this production, the strategy behind the move, and, of course, some of the reactions around the internet. You won't have to endure the typical stat-laden ramblings of an NFL broadcast, because even the booth is getting a bit of a twist to make it more family-friendly. The CBS announced that the booth will consist of play-by-play announcer Noah Eagle, CBS analyst Nate Burleson, and, more importantly, the duo will be joined by Nickelodeon star Gabrielle Nevaeh Green to call the game. Oh, and the sideline reporter will be another Nickelodeon star, Lex Lumpkin. Now, I don't want to pretend to know exactly who these Nick stars are, but based off the eccentricity of their names alone, you have to imagine that they are pretty popular amongst the kids these days. And similar to the Super Bowl, Wildcard Weekend on Nickelodeon will have its own unique halftime show, as the network will air a sneak peek of Camp Coral, SpongeBob's Underyears during halftime, which follows a young SpongeBob SquarePants at an underwater summer camp. Halftime isn't the only facet of the production getting a facelift either. The pregame show will have its own crazy spin to it. Nickelodeon's coverage begins with the SpongeBob SportsPants Countdown Special, a sports-themed compilation special hosted by the Denver Broncos All-Pro defensive end Von Miller. The coverage will also feature pre-kickoff appearances by some of the biggest names in football media, like CBS Sports' Jim Nantz and Tony Romo, as well as the aforementioned booth of Eagle, Burleson, and Green. And because of the whole sports pants deal, it will also highlight some of SpongeBob's greatest sporting moments, whatever that means. Putting aside the ornery old man act for a second, this is actually a very fun idea, and a good way to get kids interested in the game. In the days leading up to the game, kids will be able to partake in quizzes and polls, learn from a stream of fun facts, info galleries, and sports-themed videos, as well as a weekly pick-em-up printables, all while earning points and accumulating badges. The pre-game content will also have some crossover with SpongeBob, as viewers can scan QR codes on air, unlocking sports-themed SpongeBob SquarePants and the Loud House collectibles, and engage with a variety of interactive content that will continue through the actual game itself. Considering how challenging it can be to keep kids' attention spans nowadays, this was a truly brilliant way to try and keep the game interesting for them. If they merely streamed the game on the website and called it a day, I don't think it would have had the desired effect the NFL is going for, because this entire production is, in my opinion, an aggressive play to try and learn from the mistakes of other leagues, like, say, Major League Baseball, which seems hell-bent on keeping the game as curmudgeonly as possible. By stepping outside of its comfort zone and incorporating some kid-family branding, the NFL is doing the exact opposite of this stuffy MLB, which won't even let people use its content on social media, you know, where everyone actually consumes content nowadays. Interestingly, this is not the first time that an idea like this has come up. It is just the first time it's been executed. In fact, a former college football coach who faced some decent media scrutiny for making the comments at the time, Bob Diaco, came out and spelled out this idea almost word for word, minus the eccentric Nickelodeon network stars, that is.
They want to talk about networks? I got all kinds of ideas on networks. Let's target 6-year-olds to 16-year-olds. How about that? Eventually, they're going to be 18 to 35. Let's broadcast our games on Nickelodeon. Who owns that? Viacom? Let's create some real intrigue. Let's create some real followership. And that's all I was trying to do.
The only problem was, Diaco was in the midst of an embarrassing tenure at UConn, so pretty much everything he said publicly at the time was media fodder for him to get laughed at. But it is fascinating to see his vision come to fruition just a few years later. Although it is worth mentioning, like everything nowadays, this idea has its detractors. And surprisingly, it's not the football hardos screaming about the purity of the game. Instead, it's the people who take issue with an inherently violent sport like football being marketed directly to the youths of America. The concerns apparently don't stop there either. Phil Rosenthal of the Chicago Tribune wrote an entire column essentially mocking the NFL for its brash financial strategies, general hypocrisy, and the mixed messages it has sent throughout the entire COVID-19 crisis. He even posed a few hypothetical questions that these kids might want to ask the league, the same way they probably ask their parents countless questions whenever they can't make sense of something. I'll throw a couple of these hypothetical questions out there so you can get the gist. If NFL teams want to help their communities as much as they always tell us, why don't they start by picking up taxpayers' tabs on publicly financed stadiums? How can a league that for decades treated gambling as if it were head lice now be BFFs with the betting industry? Why can the NFL have games during the pandemic if it's not safe for us to go to school? How is it your people get regularly tested while all essential workers such as teachers can't? Okay, I think you get the idea at this point. And you know what? I get Rosenthal's points too, but I am not here to play moral compass for the world on this one. How about this? If you are a parent and you have concerns about the sports of football, don't let your kids tune in. Easy enough?
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
Like I said, I can't predict the future of football, but in the meantime, while it's still playing on most every American television all fall and winter long, we may as well celebrate the fact that the NFL is taking a break from its no-fun league routine to try and connect with the next generation. So hey, long live the SpongeBob Sports Pants Special! What about you? Will you tune in to watch Nickelodeon's slime-filled presentation of the NFL's Wild Card Weekend? Join us in the comments section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.